Welcome to the Morning Wood. I'm your host, John Heisel, joined as always by my friend, the great Matt Modi. Everybody knows that the best time to start laying the wood to the books is in the morning, so that's what we do every single morning on this show. If you're not subscribed to this channel, do yourself a favor right now. Hit the subscribe button. Get the notifications on. You don't want to miss another one of these shows for as long as you live. While you're doing all that, let's look at what we did last week, Matt. We were almost there. All right,
Almost.
Last week, not our fault, though. It was Thursday night. That was the last time we were together. And that game sucked.
No touchdowns.
No, that game was awful. You had DJ Moore over 5.5 receptions, minus 108. That's disgusting. Zach Charbonnet also never got close. I had DJ Moore 60-plus receiving yards, Keenan Allen 65-plus receiving yards, both at plus 110. I was doing the thing where you hit one, you walk with some cash, and then you try and forget what you saw. But that did not work. DJ Moore actually got very close. So there was a chance, but then there was not a chance because I blame that on Caleb Williams, though.
100%. I mean, he's terrible. He's just bad.
Yeah. If you're the Bears, you gotta wonder, like, what are we doing? Because that was horrible. It still could be play calling, though. I'm still holding out hope for Caleb, but
yeah,
it's because it almost looks like that's not even an offense. I don't even know what that offense is, but it is what it is. That's not what we're here to talk about today. What we're here to talk about today is bangers for tonight, which is Monday night. How many do you have today?
I got 3.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you go first. You have more
than
I have 2. I only have 2. So
we're going all football tonight. I do have NBA stuff, but not on this channel because we only have time for 3. So the odds on these have changed admittedly since I locked them in, but the most up-to-date will be on the screen. The first one I'm going to go with is let's go with Juwan Jennings, 70-plus receiving yards. We just talked about this before we hit record. It could be one of those weird games where they just start getting Ricky Pearsall involved, which is definitely possible. But Brock Purdy loves Juwan Jennings, and even though it's big gross, I mean, the last 5 games, he's only hit 70 receiving yards one time. So, that's not great. But you can explain away 3 of those games. That's not Juwan Jennings' fault. One of them, Brock Purdy didn't play, backup quarterback, not his fault. The other 2 was terrible weather. You remember the blizzard game against the Bills? Not only was it snowy, but it was windy, which is not great. And then the other one was another Thursday night football travesty against the Rams where, no offense did anything. So neither of those games were his fault. The only real game that was his fault was last week against the Dolphins. He still had 51 receiving yards, so it's not like he was terrible. But if we go back to a little bit like the beginning of the year, when Deebo Samuel missed a couple games, and then when Brandon Ayuk got hurt, Juwan Jennings was just on fire. I mean, he had 175 yards in one game and 3 touchdowns, 88 yards, 93 yards, 91 yards. Yeah, he's missing 4 of his last 5. That's fine. We can forgive him for that because this is a matchup against the Lions that you're going to need to throw. Like, they're my favorite matchup to target passing props because their offense, no matter what the score is, their offense is always throwing, always trying to score, and they're a pass funnel. I don't really understand the logic of when your offense is that good, why on defense your whole thing is to stop the run when teams never even bother running on you. It doesn't make sense to me, but that's not what we're talking about here. They've given up the most receiving yards and receptions specifically to wide receivers in the NFL. I mean, last week when they played the Bears, who we just talked about, it's the worst team in NFL history. All 3, Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen, and DJ Moore, all 3 of them hit their yards prop over against the Lions. That's crazy when Caleb Williams is able to have 3 receivers go over their receiving prop. We're only asking one of them to do it. It's Brock Purdy's favorite receiving target, not including George Kittle. So, yeah, Juwan Jennings, 70-plus receiving yards.
I like it. I like it a lot. I'm going to go with some football. I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs, 100-plus rushing yards, plus 120 at ESPN Bet. This is the most obvious bet we've ever seen, Matt. If you've never seen a Detroit Lions football game, let me let you in on a little secret. This guy is a stud. Might be the best running back that the Detroit Lions have ever had play for him. The cat got kind of let out of the bag last week, but not totally. He took 23 carries for 109 yards, which is probably his floor. That was against one of the worst defenses in the entire NFL. So a lot of people are going to say that it was disappointing, but I don't think so. For starters, it was the Chicago Bears. How do you even get up for the Chicago Bears? Short answer, you don't. Now they're going to go see the 49ers, who at the end of a miserable season for them, but people still hate them, especially the Lions. They've given up 100-plus rushing yards to 4 of the last 5 starting running backs they've seen. There is literally no chance Gibbs goes under 100 yards tonight. Feels right.
I love that play so much that was going to be my second play. But I'll pivot. I'll go with an NBA bet after this one.
Gotcha.
But that there's no chance that play loses. So if it wins, we'll both take credit for it because that's only fair. So I'm going to go with another rushing prop. Give me Brock Purdy, 25 plus rushing yards. Now I'll admit the line moved against me from when I locked it in. You can get it at like plus 162 now. It's a crazy line. I don't know why this moved in the opposite direction, but I don't care. This is a system play, which admittedly I haven't found out about until too late in the season, but it's going to help us tonight. So it's quarterback rushing props against the Lions. They have a beautiful combination of, they play a lot of man coverage, which will lead to quarterbacks running against them because, like, if you're following a man, your eyes not on the quarterback. So if the quarterback can scramble, and they also don't spy the quarterback. So they allow a ton of quarterbacks to run against them. They've allowed the third most rushing yards to quarterbacks, but every single quarterback that had a prop that was in the 20s hit their over, and like 2 of the 4 that had double digits missed it. But that was like Mac Jones and CJ Stroud. Like, they don't count. They don't run the ball at all. Not like Brock Purdy, who actually can run the ball, even though he's white. We're going to call him sneaky athletic because he's white, but he is also capable of moving, which like is always amazing for people to understand. But some of the like running quarterbacks against them, Baker Mayfield, 34 rushing yards, sneaky athletic. Kyler Murray had 45. Geno Smith had 38. Another sneaky athletic guy, Sam Darnold, had 39. Anthony Richardson, 61. Caleb Williams, 39 and 34 in both of his starts against the Lions. Josh Allen had 68. Purdy hit this in the playoff game against them last year. He's hit this 25 plus number in 5 of his last 10 games. He did miss it in 3 straight games before cashing it last week. Purdy can scoot. The Lions are going to let him. And all we need, one scramble, he can get 25 yards. He's going to get there.
I like it. I'm going to hit the NBA. I like to have something to bet on before the NFL game starts, so that's what I'm going to do here. It's going to be Alex Sarr over 1.5 made threes plus 130 at FanDuel. I've been watching this kid for a while, waiting for him to show any sign of life, and I think we're finally at that point. I know the haters are going to say that he's had a miserable start to his career, and they're right. I just think he's too skinny. All right, he's listed at 225 pounds, but there's no chance that's true. You could let him hold 2 25-pound dumbbells when you weigh him, and he still wouldn't be 225 pounds. The guy has to run around the shower just to get wet. It's a whole thing. But guess what? All that running around is paying off for him. Over the last 6 games, this guy has hit at least 2 threes in every single game, including just last game against the same team he plays tonight, the New York Knicks. At plus 130, I don't know how we can possibly pass this up. It would be irresponsible of us. Feels too right.
I agree, and I like it. Classic John going with the 3-point prop. So since we're both on Jahmyr Gibbs, I will pivot to the NBA. This line is going to get somebody fired. It's Christian Brown, 15 plus points, plus 200 odds at bet 365. We all know his mom's a MILF, so we do have the MILF betting system, which is always fun.
It works.
So, like I said, someone's going to get fired for this line. So he's played 13 games without Aaron Gordon in the lineup. He's scored 15 points in 8 of those 13 games, averaging 16 points per game. Aaron Gordon is out for this game. So like we're getting a play at plus 200 that he's hit in 8 of 13 games, which like I get, we're not always going to be hit right type of people. But in this situation, I just think the books are blind to the fact that he scores more when Aaron Gordon's out. And even if we just looked at that, I would say that's a good play. We haven't even talked about the matchup against the Utah Jazz, who have the worst defensive net rating in the entire NBA on the season. They have the second worst defensive net rating over the last 10 games. So they're still very bad. And they allow the most points in transition, which is the play type that leads to the most points that Christian Brown scores. So it's like, it hits everything that you could possibly look for. It's an insane price. I don't understand what the books are doing. Per props madness, Christian Brown's played 12 games against teams that are bottom 10 in terms of transition defense. And the Jazz aren't even bottom 10. They're bottom, I mean, technically they are, but they're bottom 1. Like bottom 10 is doing disjustice to just how bad they are. In those 12 games, he scored 15 points in 7 of them, averaging over 15 points per game. It's just a crazy line that we're getting at plus 200. This should be minus 150. If I was setting lines, it would be minus 150. It's a crazy price. There's no chance that he doesn't score 15 points tonight.
I love it. Oh, man, that's going to do it. I think we just pretty much swept again, which is crazy. But after hearing all the bets, it's
not that crazy.
Not that surprising, yeah, because I mean, every one of those bets are going to win. So that's good. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Do it right now. Hit the like button. That always helps us out. Go over to @JediModi, also on YouTube. Subscribe to that. You'll see more of what Matt does on a daily basis. The guy, he's got videos every single day, so you're probably going to want to do that. I'm going to be back later, 4 p.m., to use the tools at OddsJam. We've absolutely demolished the books. I don't even know if they're going to open up today. We'll see what happens, but come back, see what's going on with those. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.